Why is this not doing what you said it was going to do? The math isn't right. My name's Joe, and I am a teacher. I've been doing that for about 16 years. I also own a DJ company, so I've been in the wedding industry, and I've been in the wedding industry about 10 years. I have three kids, 17, 16, and 12, so a little bit on the older side. When you hit your 30s, you start to do this like self-reflection thing. And so I learned as much as I could about money and all of the things. I had been in mutual funds when I was younger, and I just started, reading and learning. And then, mutual funds are awful. So when I learned about the index universal life, I was like, okay, cool. So this company that was servicing our school district, they had people that came out. And so I asked them about that. Well, they didn't really know much about it. Of course, they're still going to sell me a product, which they did. I kept pumping money into the product, and I'm looking at it and I'm just like, why am I not growing like I think I should be growing? And it kind of just continued. So I reached out and I said, hey, I'd like to talk to you again. And they said, oh, yeah, we'll come and talk to you. And they still didn't know what was happening or what's going on. So that's when I eventually like needed to find somebody that knows what they're doing. The older I get, the more I realize that competence is the biggest factor when you're looking for somebody to work with. And so when I reached out to you and I started asking you questions, your answers were, well, they're just better, right? So it's like, I know the answer to that. I know the answer to that. Yep, this is this and this is that. And then if you didn't know anything, you're like, let me find out on that. And then you would get back to me with the answer. It wasn't like a broken promise where like this other company. When you looked at my stuff, you're like, oh yeah, this is terrible. They set you up completely wrong. That's the thing with the financial industry is they have a lot of false truths. And so you end up buying things that look great, or they show you like these like tables that, you know, just the math isn't right. And so you get into it, and then, 5, 6 years down the road, you've put all this money into it, and you're like, why is this not doing what you said it was going to do? And so that's when I reached out and found you. And then it's just been night and day different. But, the big thing is like you're carrying. And so when I started to work with you, that was evident. Like, you know about my kids, you know about the things that are going on. It seems like you're building my portfolio if it was for you, right? So the things that I'm looking for, you're like, okay, what are your interests? How do you want to get there? And then there's options you've given me that I didn't even think of before. I wanted to make sure you were competent, check, classy. I mean, you're well dressed. And caring is the other big thing. And that's where a lot of people miss the mark. I'm a sale versus where it's like I'm a client, and my expectations are not only met but exceeded. And so that's kind of the difference in what I found. The biggest thing that sets you guys apart is the education part, right? I'm a teacher. And so, and I came to you with a bunch of random questions. I had a lot of stuff in left field, and you're like, oh yeah, I know about that. I know about that. I know about that. And the big things. So when I was talking about, setting up what's it called? Generational wealth. Those are things you're like, yeah, absolutely. That, we can work on that too. And so when I was coming out of left field with things, you guys had all the information, or you would go and find the information. So if I were to recommend you to anybody else, it would just be because of competence. I mean, yeah, you guys are classy and caring, but the competence thing is just really what sets you apart from pretty much anybody I've worked with in the financial industry. Hire Michael, duh.